the distinguished senator of Isiolo and ranking member of the Senate. I think she's among the few who have served longest in this Senate. And she's among the only, if I'm right in this session, among the only 3 women who got elected as the senators. And I think that Senator Dula has proven, and also, as I second, Madam Speaker, Senator Dula has proven that if you are nominated and you work hard, you can be elected. So it's a challenge to colleagues who want to get elected. You should get some lessons from Senator Dula, who is the incoming governor of Isiolo County. Madam Speaker, I think she's even overqualified to be in Senate. Either she becomes a governor or a cabinet secretary. Madam Speaker, the street naming and property addressing system bill is just basically, Madam Speaker, you know this is the only country where you still use language and sign to trace my home, to trace your home, to trace an hospital, to trace a school, to trace a fire engine, to trace a government service, asking around like a gossip. Do you know where so-and-so lives? Do you know where the hospital lives? We have not properly done what we call a national addressing system. What it means, Madam Speaker, and you know you are well-traveled, a number of colleagues have been lucky to travel, and you can appreciate when you are in Europe and America, when you say address this road, number this, you can get that individual person or a facility or an infrastructure. And I know Senator Chesang is also well-traveled, although he mostly goes to Dubai, but he knows also in some of those areas. You know, I think, Madam Speaker, you need in future to also organize Senator Cheburet to also travel. I know the farthest he has gone is Mogotio during court auctioning. So we need to travel so that you can see the address, Madam Speaker, so that when you come to your house, either, you know, you are a lady of many, you are a western and western region and Luo Nyanza area, we can come to your house and know that. That is basically what the law is all about. The issue is to increase efficiency, for one, for services, essential services, such as Madam Speaker, my able senior sister has developed. You want to get an ambulance, you want to get a school, you want to get an hospital, Madam Speaker, you want to access essential services, Madam Speaker, it should be accessible. I think that is what this bill is trying to address, so that we can ensure that a national addressing system. I know in some areas in this city, you still have those addresses, especially in upmarket areas like Runda, like Karen, Madam Speaker, like Itusuru, like Igiri. But Madam Speaker, when you go to Muguru kwa Njenga or Muguru kwa Rupen, you must look for the local Mukasa. You must look for the local elder to take you to, if you live in Muguru kwa Njenga or Kibra, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank the President, because this is the first time a sitting President has hosted village elders in State House. And we must celebrate. I think President William Ruto, Madam Speaker, is showing that everybody matters. Even the local corporate elder, which most of us assume. They are the ones who ensure there is unity. They are the ones who are, they are like Google of the village, of that village. Because if you want to know, Madam Speaker, somebody's house, if you ask a Mukasa, a corporate elder, Madam Speaker, they can tell you, and that is what the President was telling the corporate elders. It's part of national addressing system, Madam Speaker. If you want to know what is happening, you just ask your village elder. He or she, and I'm happy it's no longer men only, it's also she, Madam Speaker. You can ask, they will be able to tell you who is giving birth next week, whose cows has been stolen, whose cows has given birth, who has slept with who in the village, who has marital problems, whose husband has run away or has never appeared since he came to Nairobi, back to the village. They are what we call data. They are the village Google map. And I want to thank the President, Madam Speaker, because those are people we will need to work with as we do national addressing system, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank that even they have been given a stipend, Madam Speaker. The village elders, we only used to pay from assistant chief, and even village administrators were paid by county. But the honor that the President gave those village elders, they will never forget. I think some of them, this is the first time they are stepping into Nairobi. But not only Nairobi, they are stepping to the most famous address in the city. and that is the State House address, Madam Speaker, which a number of Kenyans have never had a privilege to visit in the previous regimes, Madam Speaker. And I know going into the future, Madam Speaker, so this issue of national addressing system, we must ensure that we focus on it, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you have had the Vision 2060 by His Excellency the President. You have had even your party leader, Dr. Oburu Odinga, and the late, may his soul rest in peace, Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, the enigma of Kenyan politics, had the vision of 2060. One of the ways, Madam Speaker, is to have national addressing system which creates efficiency in terms of essential services and where we live. Not only basic, but even taxes and many other issues. And even many people, Madam Speaker, have been asking, where does President Ruto's Vision 2060 got from? He got it from Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, who had the vision, Madam Speaker, of a better Kenya. And we are saying we are going to Singapore via Canaan. The only way to reach Singapore via Canaan is not to ask where your address is, or to ask people in the village, I want to go to a certain hospital, I want to go to a certain ambulance center, I want to go to a certain school. You just use what we call a data that is provided. That is the first world we are talking about. That is the Vision 2060 that the President is talking about. And I want to thank Baba Raila Odinga and President William Ruto for this vision, that we now need to have a conversation as a country on the future of this country. But Madam Speaker, when you have spineless and rudderless and agendaless, planless opposition in this country, who only think about the election instead of thinking about the future generation, the prosperity of this country, Madam Speaker, and therefore, what Senator Dulo is trying to ensure is efficiency in terms of service delivery, Madam Speaker. There is also the postal address. I remember, I don't know whether the America, Madam Speaker, they are voting by mail. The issue of tax, revenue collection, it will assist. In fact, the land rates and land rate, all counties should ensure, Madam Speaker, that they support these all counties, because it will allow the efficiency of revenue, will allow, Madam Speaker, and I want to say we need counties to function. And I'm happy Senator Dulo has ensured that the role of county government under Article 96, our role is to protect the interest of the counties and to oversight as per Article 96. Madam Speaker, even our counties, I know Senator Kamar also comes from both counties, Elgeyo Marakwet and Uasin Gishu. And he knows the other day somewhere in Elgeyo Marakwet there are fireworks where a deputy governor who is a woman, I think Professor Cherargei, was being undermined and curtailed by the governor. But I'm happy that woman told off the governor. The deputy governor told off the governor, because we cannot be talking about the efficiency of counties and revenue collection, yet people are being undermined. And therefore, Madam Speaker, the issue of revenue collection, we must ensure counties also. Madam Speaker, I have sat in Public Accounts Committee for some time, and I know you sit in devolution and intergovernmental. One of the biggest challenges, and you and me agree, is the missed target of own source revenue by most of the counties, by a huge margin of 60%. We are now georeferencing. We now have digital maps. We want to georeference. We want to do national addressing system to allow efficiency of collection of revenue, Madam Speaker. And that is why even committees, the Public Accounts Committee, there is Public Investment Committee. I can see the newest Deputy Minority Whip trying to give notes to the immediate Vice Chair of PAC on how to collect what you call non-revenue water where most municipalities and water companies are struggling. This one will come in handy because we will know where you are. It is easy to build. And by the way, Madam Speaker, I want to encourage colleagues. It is safer to participate in all committees. Even if there was a committee of catering, don't worry, just serve there. Serve in finance, serve in public accounts, serve in energy. Madam Speaker, we should learn to appreciate that the formation of committees, and every senator in this room, including you, Madam Speaker, has a right to serve in any committees, has a right to chair in any committees. Even personally, Madam Speaker, in 2018, I was de-whipped by Jubilee. I was the chairperson of Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights. Madam Speaker, I have been the backbencher since then, but I don't find anything out of ordinary, because the interest I represent is on behalf of the great people of Nandi, Madam Speaker, where people brought you. You represent special interest in this country alongside Senator Karen and a number of colleagues, Senator Kamar, who was our Deputy Speaker. But can you imagine the way Senator Kamari is so humble? You cannot know she's a former Minister of Education. She's a former Eldoret South Member of Parliament, one of the few women from Kalenjin community. She was our Deputy Speaker of the Senate, like you, Madam Speaker, presiding over the sittings. It doesn't hurt, Madam Speaker, just serve where you are given. Even if there was a committee of catering, just serve there, you learn something, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I think we need to ensure our committees function properly. Another one, Madam Speaker, because I can see my time is spent, is establishment of National Addressing Council, which is very critical in clause number 8. Madam Speaker, let me just quickly, because I have the final and third point, is the functions of the registrar, who will ensure, manage and maintain a custodian of National Addressing System. That is clause number 15, Madam Speaker, will ensure that if there are issues around the data, the maintenance and national. Madam Speaker, let me go quickly to the clause 16 and 16, Madam Speaker. I'm happy the owner of the bill, the distinguished Senator of Isiolo, has said that they must protect data. Madam Speaker, you are aware we have passed what we call Data Protection Act in this House. Also, it's one of the litigated, it's one of the bills or acts of parliament that we have passed, Madam Speaker, that will always face legal hurdles. Madam Speaker, the issue of data protection, we must ensure that we give in and ensure that we protect data. We are saying that data given to Kenyans. Madam Speaker, Senator Edwin, I think, is served under PIC. You realize most of the hospitals in this republic, Madam Speaker, anybody can access your data. Yet these are private and important issues about people's health. I think when you read OAG reports, Madam Speaker, you will notice most of our data is exposed, especially by public hospitals. And I hope Senator Edwin and the other committee of PIC, although I know he's still not there, can provide advice on how we can do data protection, Madam Speaker. And we become responsible on how we share data, Madam Speaker, so that we move forward as a country. I think the establishment of county committees, Madam Speaker, in short, so that I can listen to colleagues also. This is one of the brilliant bills. This is the bill that will take us to Singapore via Canaan. And I want to thank the distinguished senator. And I'm remembering she was also our deputy, I think majority whip, majority leader in the last session for coming up with such a bill. This is the conversation we have of Vision 2060 that the president is proposing. Madam Speaker, the street naming, we need efficiency, but also we need to call upon counties, including Nairobi, Madam Speaker, to have proper planning. Let us have street planning. Let us have organized roads. Let us ensure our roads are drainage. I'm surprised, Madam Speaker, that I'm told somebody has gone to court to block pedestrian walkways in Nairobi. You know, it shocks me. There are no pedestrian walkways in Nairobi and other major cities in this country. And therefore, Madam Speaker, that's why you and me appreciate that that is why most of the pedestrians are being knocked down here and there, because we need to ensure the pedestrian walkways. We need to plan our cities better, Madam Speaker. I think when you travel to other countries, you can see, especially Europe and America, that they have planned better. And I think it is the challenge that in this, the street naming and property addressing, and I want to appeal to Kenyans, Madam Speaker, we want also to ensure we prevent any other issues that individuals, Madam Speaker, might buy property and hide. It will even assist investigative agencies. Because if you suspect property XY belongs to Senator Cherargei, it is easy, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, and I can see my time is up, Madam Speaker, allow me to second and ask the members of the Senate to also support so that we can fast track and transmit it to the National Assembly, and hopefully the President can assent to it, and then we can move on as a country. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I yield back the mic.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Street Naming and Property Addressing System Bill, Senate Bills number 43 of 2024, be now read a second time. Senator Professor Kamara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity that you have given me to support this very progressive bill by the Senator of Isiolo, Senator Fatuma Dulo. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this because I think we have a lot of challenges in this country. If you drive across this country at night, even shopping centers have not been labeled. So if you are lost, you give asking at every shopping center, you see somebody passing by, please, where am I? You give asking names because you are not able to tell. It's not all of us who have Google Maps. It's not all of us who are able to actually know directions, especially when you go to the interior. So this is just the beginning. I take this bill to be the beginning of organizing ourselves as a country. Organizing ourselves when it comes to the naming of our streets. And I like the objects of this bill, particularly the fact that we need to address, we need to appreciate the people who have worked in our counties. We know that we're supposed to have a building where we have the names of eminent people who have been in our counties, and that bill has not arrived from the National Assembly. It's been there for a long time, and we hope this one will not be wasted also. But when you look at the object, it's very clear that we need to create and manage a national address system, so that if an ambulance goes to pick a patient, they know where they're going, and they can now Google the right